So to get started, really excited about this first presenter. We have Bob Dawson. Bob is from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. He was a member of the first all-black line in university hockey with St. Mary's University. Bob will be speaking on black hockey in the Maritimes. And once Bob is finished, he's going to have the pleasure of introducing Angela James, who will be our next presenter. So Bob, I'll kick it to you now.
Okay, then. Thank you. Before I begin, I'd like to express my congratulations to all those on the organizing committees for putting together what has been a great 3-day hockey conference. As a former student and hockey player here at St. Mary's, I'm honored to have the opportunity to say a few words about black hockey and the Maritimes, and also to introduce our keynote speaker. I'll begin with the black hockey and the Maritimes. Hockey is said to be more than just a game. In the words of Canadian author Roche Carrière, hockey is the history of Canadians. The game reflects the reality of Canadians in its ambitions, character, tensions, and partnerships. Before the National Hockey League of 1970, there was the Colored Hockey League in 1985. So I'll ask Cheryl if she wouldn't mind switching to the next slide. The league was established initially in Halifax, in the Halifax-Dartmouth area, as an initiative of the local Baptist churches. The league consisted of 3 teams, and then in 1900 expanded to include teams in Africville, Hammonds Plains, Truro, Amherst, and Charlottetown, PEI, thus becoming the Colored Hockey League of the Maritimes. Games were on an invitational basis, with the previous year's winner retaining the title of the champion title, while other teams vied for the right to compete for the title. Despite the racism and racist myths at the time, the CHLM helped revolutionize hockey as we know it today, with its play and innovations, like the butterfly style of goaltending introduced by Henry Braces Franklin of the Dartmouth Jubilees, and the slap shot pioneered by Eddie Martin of the Halifax Eurekas. After several years of relative success, the league in 1905 began to decline, due in large part to World War I, the 1917 Halifax explosion, as well as the ensuing economic depression. Eventually, the league faded into history about 1935. And I might add here that based on the extensive research of Daryl and George Fosty, co-authors of the book Black Ice, it's estimated that 300 plus Blacks played in the CHLM on as many as 14 teams. And you'll see in terms of the right hand photo there, actually it's a copy of the stamp that I had collaborated with Canada Post on, and which was issued in January of 2020. Years after the CHLM, Blacks from the Maritimes continue to defy the myths and assumptions about their abilities to play hockey. Players like Art Dorrington and John Mintus of Truro, Nova Scotia, and Manny McIntyre of Fredericton, New Brunswick, in the 1940s and 50s played professional hockey on teams in Canada and the US. Despite their skills and talent, NHL teams ignored them. When you fast forward to Willie O'Ree of Fredericton, New Brunswick, who joined who on January the 18th, 1958, became the first Black to play in the NHL with the Boston Bruins. After just 4 games, he returned to the Quebec Aces, which was an affiliate of the Boston Bruins. He was later recalled up to the Bruins for the 1960-61 season. At the end of the season, he ended up being traded to the Montreal Canadiens, where he never played a game and thus ended his short NHL career. It's important to note that between 1961 and 1973, no Blacks played in the NHL. Despite views to the contrary, it's as though there was an unofficial policy of exclusion against Blacks. Although highly talented Black players from the Maritimes, like Clobie the Jet Collins of Truro, as well as Stan Chook Maxwell, also of Truro, Frankie Danky Dorrington from New Glasgow, and Alton White from Amherst, who were showcasing their skills in professional leagues in Canada and the US. Yet they were denied the opportunity to play in the NHL, while lesser talented white players went on to play in the top league. Now, after 1973, the reintegration of Blacks in the NHL occurred slowly. For Black Maritimes, it began in 1974 with the signing of Bill Riley of Amherst by the Washington Capitals, an expansion team. He was the third Black to play in the NHL behind Willie O'Ree, Mike Marson. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind switching, Cheryl, to the next slide. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And other Blacks eventually made their way into the NHL, like Eldon Pokey Reddick of Halifax, who first played with the Winnipeg Jets, 1986 to 88, and later with the 1989-90 Stanley Cup winner, the Edmonton Oilers. Craig Martin, another Amherst native, played with the Winnipeg Jets, 1994 to 1995, and then the Florida Panthers, 1996 to 97. Along with Willie O'Ree, there is one other Maritimer who holds a special place in the annals of professional hockey. My good friend, John Paris Jr. of Windsor, Nova Scotia, is the first Black coach in pro hockey team, with a pro hockey team, when he coached the Atlanta Knights of the International Hockey League, which went on to win the Turner Cup Championship in 1994. He also has the distinction of being the first Black general manager in pro hockey when he was named to that position in 1996 with the Macon Whoopee of the Central Hockey League. And I should mention that in terms of Stan Chook Maxwell and also John Paris Jr., in playing at St. Mary's on the All Black line, their brothers were also teammates of mine on that line, Darryl Maxwell and also Percy Paris. One thing that all of the foregoing Black players had in common was their love for hockey. All had to overcome adversity, racism, and even hostility. If that wasn't enough, each had to wage a personal battle for acceptance and respect. Some eventually received it, while others never did. At this point, I have the honor of introducing our guest speaker, Angela James. As it happened in 2007 at the Black Hockey and Sports Hall of Fame conference in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, I had the privilege of meeting Angela when she was inducted into the Black Hockey and Sports Hall of Fame. In looking at her past, I'm reminded of a quote by Haywood Broun, who said, "Sports do not build character, they reveal it." Born in Toronto in the Flemington Park area, Angela, as a child, quickly developed an interest in sports, particularly hockey. She first played organized hockey in the Boys House League at the age of 8, and then and only after her mother threatened legal action. Angela dominated the Flemington Park League with her skills that were above those of her peers. As the story goes, her participation in the league was cut short due to the jealousy from the parents of boys in the league. The league president changed the league's policy forbidding girls from playing. The only option Angela had for a girls' league was in Don Mills, in the Don Mills district. Skipping bantam, Angela first played senior hockey with the Newton Brook Saints at the age of 13, while opposing players were several years older. She obviously had skills that were ahead of her time. After high school, Angela continued her passion for hockey at Seneca College in Toronto. There she led the Ontario Colleges Association in scoring in 1982-1983 and was named the league's most valuable player. In 1983-84, she led the league in scoring and the team for its first championship. Angela's scoring exploits led a Toronto reporter to call her the Wayne Gretzky of women's hockey. Angela played at the highest levels of senior hockey between 1980 and 2000. She was a member of numerous teams in the Central Ontario Women's Hockey League from 1980 to 1998, helping them to win national championships and being selected MVP 8 times. Moreover, she won league scoring titles 8 seasons. Angela finished her senior hockey career in the National Women's Hockey League, winning a league title. Now, internationally, Angela played with Team Canada in the first International Ice Hockey Federation Women's World Championships in 1990, setting a scoring record of 11 goals and leading Canada to the gold medal. Later, she played in 3 additional World Championships, winning gold medals, get this, in 1992, 94, and 97. James played her final international tournament in 1999. Widely considered the first superstar of modern women's hockey, Angela has been honored by numerous halls of fame, and she's received many awards. She was one of the first 3 women inducted into the IIHF Hockey Hall of Fame in 2008, and one of the first to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2010. She was inducted also into Canada's Sports Hall of Fame in 2009. Among other honors, Angela was named in February of this year to the Order of Hockey in Canada by Hockey Canada. If you could flip to the next slide. Yeah, and there you get a picture of Angela accepting her well-deserved honors. And in closing, without sort of further ado, I turn it over to Angela, a true trailblazer in women's hockey. Angela, the floor is yours.
Angela, I think you're muted. All good, all good.
Remember, I told you that's what I do all the time. Anyway, thank you, Bob, for that lovely introduction. And I'm just going to have to repeat his PowerPoint there because he certainly said an awful lot. And 2007, that's almost 14 years ago, Bob, that I had the pleasure of coming down to Halifax. And I was looking so forward to coming down to Halifax last year. But of course, that did not happen. But you know what? At least we're getting to have a conversation here now virtually. And I just want to thank Sarah and Cheryl for moderating this session, but also the entire St. Mary's University organizing committee for this hockey conference. Up until I was invited to speak, I didn't even know this existed. And I know that there's a long history of the conference. And, I'm certainly looking forward to, going back and looking at some of the sessions that were recorded that I didn't get an opportunity to see yesterday, but I was able to get on Friday. It's really a pleasure and an honor to be asked to come in and at the end of a conference where I think that you have had so much information given to you, some history, and I can only say that I'm not from the Maritimes, but I certainly visit family that I have. My partner's from Prince Edward Island, so I do get down to the Maritimes quite often and go through a number of provinces. So I'm going to be as formal, and I'm going to bring up a presentation, and I'm controlling it, so I'll try to do everything together. Okay. All righty. This worked last time, guys. Is there any particular reason why I can't share my screen?
Try now.
Let me just try. That's just the screen.
I think we're good. You have a blue background?
Yeah, I have a blue background.
Okay.
Is that popping up now?
Yeah, we see Zoom and your email.
Okay. Okay. Sarah, is that good?
Yeah, we're good to go now.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. And As Bob said, my name is Angela James. I'm going to share a PowerPoint with you and just kind of talk a little bit along the way of my experiences with hockey up until this point. I had an opportunity, like I said, on Friday to visit some of your sessions, and I really enjoyed what I was seeing, and with the universities, and also the PK Saban project. I'd like to just really start off with a little video that I was a part of during COVID, and I'd like to share with you because we are Canadian. This was something that I was a part of. You'll hear my voice towards the end. Yes, I got all the tongue twisters.
Nice is not one place or thing. It's a mosaic, a global village, a pickup game. We pass the puck to be nice.
It's very moment, putting down your dystopian novel in a Muskoka chair, opening your eyes, knowing this world can be nice.
Nice is celebrating traditions and welcoming newcomers in all of our 200 languages. I say nice, you say?
Génial de français de côte à côte, allons du joie jusqu'au chien. L'hiver est tellement beau, mais attache ta tuque vers du bel.
That's just like Peter Tails, ketchup, chips, and I'm about there in local bakery debating the praise that they love.
Nice is part of science, the environment, inventions, innovations like insulin, pacemakers, and basketball.
Nice is honoring our elders, educating the future, acknowledging the land, respecting those who have always been here.
Génial, c'est la fierté de l'Olympique. La gaieté dans nos villages, c'est d'enfin toucher à la coupe, puis goûter au sirop d'érable.
Nice is the rock in the Rockies, wide as the prairie sky, as high as Niagara Falls. Hey dude, check out our side.
Nice is celebrated by all a dozen and Klondike Kings, Emily Stowe, Rita Joe, and all the women who make this great place.
Nice in Alberta steak.
Une bonne poutine après les bars.
Dim sum with family. Arctic char.
Kissing the Cotto Graph.
Nice is a secret code. We train the world with college, so they visit other places because Canada, it's just nice. To see the North, we the champs, we the red and the white. We see the rise, not just nice. This is Canada.
Nice, nice,
Nice.
nice,
Nice.
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 Well, I just thought I'd share that with you. My daughter told me that it received over 12 million hits on YouTube. So it was something that the Canadian Tourism put together, and the writers for that was artists from far away. And great project to be a part of and to know a little bit of our Canadian history. So thought we'd start off that, give you guys a little video. I was born in Toronto, Ontario, where I always like to say, which is equivalent to Harlem in New York, and the projects, and you know, in a predominantly white neighborhood. My mother's white, my father's black. And it wasn't until around 10 years old, 11 years old, that my neighborhood really started to change with an influx of different diverse communities. But in the meantime, this is where I learned to play hockey, and in particular, all sports. My mother was a single mother raising 5 of us. So, you know, we didn't have a lot of money, but my mom always found a way to get us involved in sport and to find a way to make things happen. My father, whenever needed, he would come, but generally he wasn't in the picture to help support my mother. One thing though that came with that was a lot of freedom to run the streets, to do what you want, you know. So my freedom was to play hockey, and I was like 5 or 6 years old, and I used to watch the kids in my neighborhood, you know, playing ball hockey, moving the ball around, and I would just watch. And then one day, I was able to play with them. But of course, you know, being a female player, and back then, the only position that I was able to play was goalie. And so I played the position for a very long time, but you know, getting so many tennis balls off my forehead and experiencing only playing, I really wanted to play out. So one day I took off the equipment and I decided that it was time for me to play out, and eventually never went back. I used to play down at my local outdoor arena. I didn't have any equipment or anything, but somebody gave me a pair of skates. They were the old black and orange one, probably predates a lot of the viewers. And but they had metal coming down on my toes, and so when I would skate, it would cut the tops of my toes. But that didn't really bother me because this is something that I wanted to do and I wanted to play. So I would go down to the outdoor arena. I would go across our hydro field. I would tie up my skates at home, walk across the field, slide down on my bum and go play on the outdoor arena till probably 10 o'clock at night. And that's when I then would go back home. I found that myself shooting, playing by myself, playing with others, that indirectly, you know, I was already developing, you know, a skill set that I didn't even realize I was doing, because I was continuously doing it and doing it and doing it. And as I was playing that great game, I was always visualizing, you know, DKing, scoring, yeah, championships, and you know, as we played on the streets, and you know, just imagine, you know, what it would be like. So at that early stages, I was already visualizing. I was mentally preparing myself. Physically, I was fighting because I was constantly playing with the boys. And later in life, I think that those skills certainly came up. Oopsie, sorry. So that leads me to, you know, quite a few years later, when it was time for education. And I'm going to try to skip through a lot of my life. And you know what, dates and accuracy is not my specialty. So I apologize if I'm not correct on everything. I'm sure not like Bob. I'm not a historian, so I will do my best here from my memory, even though it's getting short as I get older. I attended Seneca College in Toronto. I played with the OCAA, as Bob had mentioned, in the college system, which unfortunately does not exist anymore, which is pretty sad for our hockey at the college levels, that there's no more leagues. And that's both for the females and the males. I can honestly say that I wasn't much of a student, but I did end up graduating with a recreation facilities management diploma. And I actually, very fortunate, one of those people that actually ended up working in the field that they studied. I ended up pretty much my entire career, 35 years in the recreation facility and varsity sports for Seneca College. Earning a salary and playing hockey certainly was not in the cards back then, barely is it today, but so it was very important that I had some type of education to have a backup plan to be able to, you know, provide a living for myself, and still being able to play and dream of hockey, and getting an education, doing those things parallel was a dream come true. So as time went on, and through education later in life, and you know, I'm going to go back and forth a little bit as I get into my different topics. This is a true story. So, and I'm all about stories, and I know the Maritimes are about stories. So I'm going to say, you know, I was I got a phone call from the University of Windsor, and they said to me, you know, we would like to give you a honorary degree. And I'm like going, well, why would you want to do that? And they said, well, we've paid attention to you and everything that you've done, and we want to give you a degree. And so I went down, and beautiful ceremonies, 4 hours down to Windsor, 4 hours spending time with the faculty, and came home with this doctorate of law degree. My son, who is played junior hockey, and decided to stop playing after he won his championship, and goes to the University of or Western University. He's studying to become some type of doctor, and he's in medical sciences there. And so he works really hard, and we support him. And but I came home, and I'm a real jokester, so I said to him, hey, how long, you're going to be 4 years for your undergrad, and possibly med school, hopefully med school, another, I think that's 4 years, and then internships and that. I said, well, I just got my doctorate degree. It took me about 8 hours, but I'm sure that you'll get through. So he wasn't really totally impressed with that story or me, but basically later on, through talking to the chancellor, I always wondered, like, how can you just hand out a degree like that? And not that I can use it, I'm not going to go and perform operations on athletes or anything like that. But they said, well, it's what you've done for the last 35 years in working, in playing, in leadership, in coaching, officiating, all of those things, and also being an advocate of certain issues. And so later after I heard that, really and truly, the joke was on me. So it might take him 8 years and that, but it took me 35 years to earn a degree. I had a great career with my teams. All my teams, whether it be college or Team Canada, my league teams. I played senior hockey starting very young, as Bob indicated. And while I was trying to earn an education, I was still playing senior hockey, still provincial hockey, and then later in time, national hockey. So sometimes I was on the ice 7 days a week, sometimes double practices. So a lot of that hard work paid off. Females would love to be able to earn a living playing pro, but the reality is that 1%, even males, will earn a living playing our great game. The beauty of this for both men and women were the introduction of scholarships, the ability to earn an education and play your sport at a high level, both at the female level in Canada, US, and the men as well in US. The good thing for the men in the US now is that they're able to be drafted out of their universities right into the NHL, whereas in men's hockey, unfortunately, they have to choose a path, at least here in Ontario, where or actually I think it's Canada as well, CHL versus going down to or playing university CIS or down in the States. So we as parents and players, I know that we want to do everything to get our guys to the next level, but it's so important to have a backup plan, and definitely education has to be in there and must be equally as important, because it doesn't matter how you get there, but you need that backup plan. Scholarships for women both in the US and Canada, must continue. I have a hard time talking about myself, so Bob, I'm really glad that you talked for me. It's a little bit about, that's my little dog, Rosie. She's a Leaf fan, but unfortunately, it didn't really work out for us. So I just want to a little bit talk about, oops, hang on one second here. Sorry about that. A little bit of history, sorry, for women's hockey. I think I would be remiss if I didn't speak in particular about women's hockey, since that's my field. You know, long before, oh, a second, I'm off on my screens. I apologize here. There we go. I'm not sure if you can see, throughout COVID, I collected a number of comics, and I thought that this is only fitting. I'm gonna pick on soccer now, but everybody get their vaccine, and we'll be back to normal. Little history about women's hockey is history. The game of women's hockey started in the early 1800s and with Lady Isabel Stanley, and way before my times. I know sometimes I'm like the pioneer, and I'm like, oh, there was way more women playing way before me. And then as we got into the late 1960s, the revolution of women's hockey into the 2000s, and then right into the women starting their pro league. But if you can see back then, Abby Hoffman, who was instrumental in starting the first women's nationals, was a huge advocate of women's hockey, and big history maker. She was an Olympic athlete. Later, I believe, was our minister of tourism and sport back in the day. But just you can see a little bit of history, and not just in the ice hockey, but also in the administrators. I know that Rhonda Lehman talked a little bit about Cookie Cartwright in her presentation, along with herself being instrumental as an administrator, coming through the ranks, and here in Ontario, the likes of Fran Ryder, as well as many other contributors in all the other provinces that you would be familiar with that contributed to the history of women's hockey. As we leagues started forming in the CWHL in 2007, you know, prior to that, and then the NWHL starting. As we continued to go through, if you see, you know, there was no salaries in 2017, really minimal. You know, Jana Heffert, making some history there, recording 100 career points. And as we started getting into the NWHL and the CWHL, whereas there was a divide with the two associations. The PWHL team with three different teams, and then right now for the tour, and then we also have 6 teams with the NWHL. as we it continued to grow into the Olympics in 1998, which made another platform, brought it closer to professional hockey. The only unfortunate part is I love the fact that we have two different directions here, and we're doing it for the love of the game. The support that the girls want and need from the NHL doesn't seem to be happening. So I really believe that if the NWHL and the PHPA don't get together, we're constantly going to be going in two different directions, and we won't achieve our goal. But I still have faith in it. I do work or support both. Sometimes it can be very difficult, because one thinks that you're supporting one over the other. But I support hockey in general, women's or men. As we go through, and I know that hockey brings so many different faces to the games, I have to talk a little bit about diversity and racism in hockey and the BIPOC community. And if anybody's not familiar with the term BIPOC, it's actually an American term, and that's Black, Indigenous, and people of color. So it's very inclusive to everybody. But again, poor Leafs getting punched out there by the Montreal Canadiens. So when people talk to me about racism or a person of color and my experiences of racism, they always tell me, well, from what I've got is that I tick off so many boxes. So I'm a Black, I'm a female, and recently I found out that I may have Cherokee from my great grandmother. I'm gay. Growing up, first playing hockey, being a female hockey player, being gay, Black, playing a boys' game back then, I have to say that my encounters of race has been there quite a bit, but as we take the high road and we try to educate and be strong for it. But the racism that I always have encountered more than anything, and that really is being a female playing hockey. And I tend to get more of reaction of that then, not of late, than anything else. So one of my experiences was that I was in a hotel in 1992. And I believe I was in Ottawa, and our team, we were playing the US the next morning, and there was a lot of racket going on. It was probably around 12:30 at night. And for some reason, I'm not sure, I don't think it would happen today where other people would be on, other partiers would be on the same floor as you would, but it just so happens that they were. So at the same time, probably 3 or 4 of my teammates, we opened up the door, and we were standing outside the door, and we were trying to get the gentleman's attention that was sitting there, and to ask if he could be quiet, that we had a big game tomorrow, and we need to get some sleep. So we were just standing there, and this was something that I couldn't understand. It happened because, I'm there, I'm representing my country, and he said, girls, come on in and have a drink, except for that Black nigger, you stay there and don't come in here. Well, this is a story, and this is something that I had to deal with. I hadn't had to deal with that before. I just about lost it. But one thing that I had, and that was my teammates, and my teammates had my back, and that's one thing that I can honestly say got me through that situation. But these are some situations that Black hockey players have to deal with, and I'm sure that my story is probably minimal compared to some of the other stories that have happened. So my view is that absolutely through education, through being a good role model, being out there and educating people, using the platforms to make change. And TSN's been wonderful, and so is Sportnet to celebrate Black History Month. But they're going beyond that now. In case you haven't seen, a lot of the commentators and they're hiring people of color into those positions to try to make change, and also celebrate that the diversity in our great game. These are just a few things that TSN has done. Sarah Nurse is in there, as well as Drone again. I think Simmons as well, just to celebrate. So everyone's trying to be inclusive, and that's what we need. We need to keep talking about diversity, and I applaud that the conversation keeps going, because if it doesn't, then it just gets forgotten about. I don't like to always make hockey about race, because I love the game, and it doesn't matter for me about the color of anybody's skin, the nationality, their background, their preferences. So what I feel that I can do is be a part of some of these committees that are behind the scenes. As you may be familiar with, the Hockey Diversity Alliance Group, which is being formed by alumn, and I've been asked to sit on that committee, as well as there's another committee, which is the Carnegie Initiative. And both of those committees are fighting discrimination and providing opportunity through hockey. So both have a different direction. The Carnegie Initiative is all through education, and the Hockey Diversity Alliance is all about grassroots and getting it done right away without red tape. And so I feel that both groups will provide a lot of opportunity for different groups, BIPOC communities, as well as the NHL is trying to do their bit. 3 years ago, they formed the advisory committee with a number of female players, past players, different females that work in the NHL offices. And there are quite a bit that we're not aware of. So I've done my term with that. I'm starting on the other term, and looking forward to being able to contribute in any way that I can for our communities. Here's a little video of that was done during Black History Month by a rapper and songwriter. Her name was Keisha, and I apologize, I don't know Keisha's last name. And when she looked back at growing up in Flemington Park for myself, this was her view, and a little bit about me being cut from the 1998 Olympics.
What does history look like? Is it a child of two different worlds? Is it looking for belonging? Is it looking for an outlet to self-discovery? What does history look like? Is it being better than average, but the world not seeing past my circumstances? Is it being too black to be great, but too great to not play? So being left out after a big game, after a big game, after a big day? What does history look like? Is it faster than everyone? A breakaway for James. Stronger than it's ever done? Is it record-breaking plays, or is it derogatory comments after every game? What does history look like? Is it changing the rules to exclude my excellence? Is it redesigning defense for my unbeatable offense? Is it for a world championship? The MVP, Angela James. What does history look like? Is it breaking down barriers every stride I skate? Is it highlight play after highlight play for every tribulation I face? Does it look like the park? Does it look like the rec center? Does it look like every black girl who was told she didn't belong on ice? Is it being bullied first and then being told to play nice? Is it black? Is it proud? Is it 1 month for 28 days, or is it forever we decide to discriminate? What does history look like? Is it the greatest to ever play? Is it the first black woman inductee? I need to turn around and look at this. Is it a young black girl from Summerlin Park who 2 decades later can see who she can be, where she can go, can see herself in the same ice rink named after someone who looks just like her? What does history look like? For me, for Canada, for sports, for every young black girl who was told they couldn't from the North End to the Hall of Fame, history looks like Angela James.
I hope you enjoyed that. She was just phenomenal. Like when I got that sent to me, it was just sent tingles down me, and that was a great honor. And that was, by the way, that was TSN that did that piece, and you know, I have to applaud that again too. We're getting information out there. So I'm going to move on, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about hockey development. And the evolution of just hockey opportunities. And so my past opportunities in coaching, playing, officiating, have given me experience in hockey. You know, to allow myself these opportunities. You know, I'm grateful. Nothing happens by yourself. You have support system of friends and families and teammates and co-coaches and instructors and all of that. And you know, that's what shapes you, is the surrounding yourself around really great people. So you know, when my involvement in coaching and skill development through the years, were coaching and assistant coaching and owning my own schools, and you know, being head coaches in various different associations, and raising my kids and coaching. And I just recently retired from Seneca College after 35 years. And what's the first thing that I'm doing now is I'm right back into hockey. So, you know, it's a life. It's something that you don't just walk away from. It's infectious. You know, I'm a player. I'm a coach. I'm an instructor. I'm a hockey mom. And I'm also a huge fan of the game at every level. Some of the different things that I've done way back in the day, and that's actually a picture of a VHS. So that's how long ago that we tried developing skills and doing different sessions, and with the help of Sherry Piper and Scott and Geraldine Heaney. who helped us develop that. I don't even think it's in production anymore, but that was way back in the then. Just a little bit about some of the history. So as we continue to grow as females and in the sport of hockey and in the BIPOC community, now you're starting to really see some opportunities given to past female hockey players, you know, in the media, getting full-time jobs as coaches and full-time jobs in different organizations, professional, as well as you can see, announcers. You know, I'm terrible not to have Cassie Campbell up here because she's one of my faves, but that should be there. And huge supporter, Ron McLean and Tara. That was just a little hometown hockey, and they surprised me with having my daughter come on there. But I'm not one for TV. Panelists and things like that, but a lot of my co teammates have made it to the store, to the front, and with job opportunities. Here's a quiz, you know, like just something new that you would never see with a female and a person of color, a male, doing the quiz for a hockey show. So we can certainly see how times have changed. And then as we get in to whoever thought it was possible of females, these are all the females that were inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. And when you look at the history of them, of everything that they've done, and now take a look at what they're doing today, and you know, with Jana Haffert being the president of the PHPA, Professional Women's Hockey League, Cami Granato presently with the new expansion, I think Seattle Griffins, no, I can't remember, as a scout. You know, that's wonderful. Geraldine Heaney, she's presently coaching AAA boys. Haley, as you know, Haley, what a wonderful story she is, and presently the senior director of player development with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and also brought on Danielle Goyette. Angela Ruggiero from the US, she was high up in the Olympic Committee, and now she is co-founder of CEO Foundation of Sport Innovations. And then the newest one, Kim, through COVID, will be inducted, Kim St. Pierre, 3-time Olympian gold medalist. So these are, you know, as I look at it, there's finally a table at the Hall of Fame that all the girls now can fill, and they will definitely be quite a few more to come. I don't really like leaving this picture because it's just such a beautiful picture. So just some special projects that I just wanted to go into with you a little bit, that as we continue to grow, there's some children's books, and there's a biography that I was very fortunate to have written by a couple writers, and I can't remember, I think it was Rhonda that said that she's not a writer, either am I, but I was able to tell my story about growing up. And there was also a children's book that my team manager, and this is where, you know, the hockey world's quite small, decided to write children's book based on the Toronto Arrows era growing up. the view of 3 players. So she started with myself. She's gone in with Cassie Campbell and now Geraldine Heaney. So I look forward to those. Those are really great reads for young kids. My biography is a little bit more for 14 and above, but just the opportunity that I was able to do. Also, some other special projects were the Fabric of Canada that, just in terms of, like I said, helping out and doing different things. Well, I'm not a model, so, you can laugh at that one there, but just capturing the diversity of somebody and putting it on a fabric for Reitmans was just so much fun and different. Wasn't really hockey related, but to a certain degree it was in terms of giving back to the community and diversity. We talked a little bit about NICE, and oops, we're just going to keep going there. So as Bob did with his intros, there were really some accolades, and I hope you really like the Pussycat one, because I know we're dealing with the mass, but like I said, I was just going to continue to share those with you. So some of the accolades, I really can't say how fortunate that I am that I'm able to be a part of the game for so long. Okay, whether it was a player, official, a coach, a parent, and like I said earlier, a fan. I was cut in off the Olympic team in 1990. It was absolutely devastating. Actually, more devastating for my family and friends. For me, but life has a way of working things out. But hockey will always be a big part of my life. I didn't know it then, but along the way, I figured life is a big test, and I can let that experience beat me, or I can move on and be stronger for it. I chose to move on and be stronger for it, and also to educate myself to understand, why things happen in life. I was able, and like I said earlier, I was fortunate to have a backup plan with working and surrounded myself around really good friends. In 2007, 2008, all of a sudden the people came a knocking, and the induction into a number of different sorry, I'm going to move in myself over here so I can see the board, Hall of Fames. And, not one is more important than the other. But just the honor of a number of these Hall of Fames, and they really, the kickoff one for all women was the International Hockey Hall of Fame, where they were inclusive, and I believe that that's where it started, and a number of the Hall of Fames then continue to honor our hockey players. Just a number of different accolades. Now the CWHL no longer exists, and I'm not sure what they did with this, but this was a great honor to have the Angela James Bowl named after me, as well as my legacy was my hometown arena being named after me. And you got to remember that this is actually, this sign here, and I always say this to Cassie, because Cassie Campbell has a rink named after her. Cass, her sign is actually bigger than my arena. So that can kind of give you a perspective of her arena. A little story was Renee Fazell came, gave me a call, and he's the president of the IIHF. And he called me while I was working, and he said, hi, Angela, I just want to congratulate you on being inducted into the IIHF. And I said to him, yeah, right. I said, quit fooling around, Steve. I know it's you. I have a buddy, Steve. Now stop. And I hung up on him. And I got a phone call back from Renee. And he said, Angela, this is not Steve. It's not a joke. And it really is true. And so I just thought I'd share that story with you, that, someone calls you and says that you're getting inducted. It probably is true, that you're not playing a joke on you. As we finish off here with all the accolades on Monday, is a special treat for me to receive the Order of Hockey, along with Bill Hay and Kevin Lowe. I've already had conversations with these guys, and they're just such class acts. And if you know the history of those guys, then you know how much Bill Hay has done for the game of hockey. It actually is only fitting because Bill Hay was the one who handed me the plaque at the Hockey Hall of Fame induction. And then Kevin Lowe, huge Edmonton Oiler guy. Playing in an era was unique and was the start of many national championships. Canadian University, CIS first, international tournaments, first Olympic US championships, along with Title IX coming in. I played both men and women. Have fondest memories of playing with my good friend Adam Graves, who works with the New York Rangers, Steve Spott, who is actually a coach for the Vegas team, Eric Lindros, Jimmy Pack. Growing up, I had to fight my way, and it was also to fight your way playing with the guys. I used to train off ice, train with some of the top Leafs down in Toronto, and I tell you, not one of them ever took it easy on me, and that, I believe, is a big contributor of how I play and why I play so hard, because they certainly taught me well. Definitely, absolutely love the ladies' game now, and what a ride it's been. What an honor to be recognized for doing something that you love to do. Like so many of you, I think that's on this call. So many honors. I don't make millions of dollars, but I have millions worth of memories and of all parts of the game, all parts. So it's been a pleasure to sit down here and speak to this little camera. I hope I didn't bore you guys or keep you too long. And I hope you enjoyed this great weekend of hockey knowledge, and to the rest of the presenters, the committee, and to St. Mary's for hosting such a unique conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angela. That was fantastic. And I really want to thank you for paving the way for people like me to be in the position that I am today. If there weren't people like you who have done what you've done in the past, who knows where the women's game would be right now. And I really am truthfully grateful for everything that you've experienced, the good and the hard. But it does make a difference for people, and it's going to make the difference for the next Angela James. I'm sure she's coming.
Oh, she's already there.
Oh yeah,
by far.
Yeah. So we have some time, if it's okay with you, to answer any questions. I'll kick off. Kick off. Sorry, the questions. And if you do have one, make sure you put it in the Q&A, and I'll get to them. But what is your best memory of being on the national team? If you had to pick one, you talked about all those special moments and memories and stuff. But what was the number one thing that you remember from being with your time on the national team?
Well, there's so many great memories, and it's really hard to pinpoint one, but I think all the memories were growing memories and learning and understanding, and understanding how you can't control every situation, and you have to understand and try to be ahead, because certain things will eventually happen. There will be adversity. There will be things that are going to happen that you can't control, and how you have to be prepared and ready to deal with those things. But in terms of memories, it's got to be winning, right? Who doesn't like to win? I love winning, and we won so many times. But I think also too, meeting the people from around the provinces, because you got to remember that we played against each other, so we had to learn to like each other a lot. Because the game of hockey, the program, you generally stayed with the program for so long. So I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And, for a lot of young girls, it's their dream to pull on that jersey for the first time and have those experiences like you did. So I'm sure it was so special, and it's really cool to hear from you on that. Got a question in here. What did you learn from being cut from the national team, from the Olympic team?
Well, I learned that I have a lot of tears. That's for sure. Well, absolutely. So what I did learn is that you can't live in the past, right? You can't allow the past to define your future. You got to move on. You've got to understand that those happened for a reason, and yes, it hurt, but you still have the rest of your life, so you've got to make the best of a worse situation. And now I know that now today a lot better than I did then. So there was a lot of growing pains, but definitely you don't take anything for granted, and you leave everything on the ice no matter what. And if it's not good enough, it's not good enough. But you can't question yourself for anything after the fact if you've given it your best.
Awesome. It's the adversity that you can go through that, and how you come out as a person is so empowering and special, right? Just to see how you can grow. And yeah, I'm sure, especially going into Olympics, it was 98, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So even just that first time, right? Like I'm sure there's definitely things that you've taken from there and used it in your present life. You were the captain of the team at one point. So is there anything in terms of legacy of leadership that you can kind of look back on and say, this is kind of where my leadership has taken the program? Because we always talk about leaving the place better than you found it, especially as a team captain and as a leader. Is there anything that you wanted to share as something that you've kind of helped change the face of hockey when you were at the top and controlling that team?
Yeah, well, when you're playing Team Canada, everybody in the dressing room is a leader. Like all of them have came in as a captain or an assistant. So the fact that you may be leading that year really doesn't make you change or do different things. You still want to allow the other leaders to lead, because that's only going to make you stronger. So I think that as leaders, even in your club teams, just make sure that you're always willing to do what you want everybody else to do. So, you've got to be the first to show that. And, you generally do see that from most leaders, but I really think that you've always got to be one step ahead, and you've always got to be setting the tone. And absolutely, everything that you just said, Sarah, as well as leaving the team the way you found it, or leaving your legacy, so to speak.
Very cool. Next question is, how do you know Scott Gray?
Is Scott asking that question? I do know Scott Gray very well. How we know Scott, I know Scott is, I worked for Seneca College and Scott worked for the Sioux. And how I got to know Scott is that we both looked after curling. And so I would go all the way up to the Sioux and watch Scott work his butt off because he had limited staff. And I would just enjoy, usually about 4 or 5 days of curling. And Scott's on the line. Hi, Scott. Sarah, do you want me to remove my PowerPoint?
Sure, if you want. You can see more of you.
Yeah. How do I do that again? Stop share. Yeah. There we go. There we go. And then that way I can see your chats. There we go.
Perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, Scott's a good guy. He's moved on, but I got to retire, Scott. Sorry.
Next question is, in your opinion, what's next for the advancement for women in hockey, both on the player development side and for coaches as well?
Well, it's interesting how we still need a lot more head coaches, so I really think that, for me anyway, I coached and I played at the same time, so I was very fortunate to get my experience. And if we can get more females into coaching, then the opportunities, I think, for more head coaches will come. But we need a bigger base. We need more involvement, because to be quite honest with you, I get frustrated when I go into associations and I'm the only female coach in a female league, and I personally, when I'm coaching, my trainer, because they always make the trainer the female, I make the trainer come on the ice. And they're like, oh, I got to come on the ice. I'm like, yeah, you need to come on the ice. So, and they're only going to be able to develop, and you share your experiences with those female coaches and sorry, repeat the question again, Sarah. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries. In your opinion, what's next for the advancement of women in hockey, both from a player perspective and a coaching perspective?
Yeah, so definitely for coaches, we need more opportunity. For players, like I said, with the league has to come together in terms of the top end. I think we're doing really well at the grassroots. The drive and the love and the associations, I think, are really doing well for women's hockey. I still think that as we continue to grow that platform, we need to keep adding platforms. It would be nice to get female hockey at the college level, as well as getting the pro league in as well.
Love that. Especially, I believe that we're still in a male dominated sport in women's hockey, and I'm trying to pave the way, and it's nice to hear your opinion on that, because the more support that we can have, the more I think we're just going to continue to to see national team coaches more Laura Schulers, right? Like, like you said, if you can see it, you can be it. And I think it's something that, Mel Davidson really paved the way. And, it's going to be exciting to see, when it's consistently more females in a head coach position at the national level. So,
and also before I forget, I do want to,
yeah.
let's give a little shout out to that goalie that just got drafted in the OHL. And I'm sorry if I apologize. I don't know her name, but I know she's a little cutie patootie, and she'll do really well. And she's been in the guys' game, and she deserves it. So, keep plugging away. You never know what can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Taya Curry from just outside of Sarnia. So that's really, really cool. And being drafted to a hometown team too, I think that's something special for.
It doesn't matter how it happens as long as it happens.
Absolutely. Someone's got to break glass ceilings at some point, right?
That's right.
Another question: with the success of the women's national team, what was, in your opinion, that made those teams so successful as you have paved the way for future female hockey players?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, back then the pool was a little bit smaller, and we had good coaches, and so I think that's why we were so successful. And also we had a really good buy-in right from the start. So we were ahead of the game. The unfortunate part is that by being successful, now we're showing other countries how to do it and be successful. And then that's the way it's supposed to be. That's why it's international competition. So a lot of the countries are catching up. And so then I think, it was a good thing that Canada was so good for so long, but now other countries are mimicking, and now in some cases surpassing. So that's why I think that we were so good back then. Also, too, it's not helpful for us to make the U.S. stronger by going out to their universities and giving them competition to be stronger. Stay in Canada and make the CISs strong, and then that's only going to evolve into better Canadian teams.
I mean, I'm biased, but I agree.
And I'm not biased, so I'm not pushing for anybody, but that's just my view.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's keep Canadian talent here and let's develop them on home soil. And I think it's about, giving them the right resources, right? So if we can give better resources to universities and keep these kids at home, then I think we're going to start seeing our league grow, and then we'll be better because the Americans have the torch right now. We got to catch up, right? So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's it for questions. I'll throw it back to you though. Is there any kind of final thoughts or anything that you wanted to finish this off with?
Not really. It's about 33 degrees in my room right here. I'm roasting. I hope you guys are getting some nice warm weather in around Canada. And, it was a real pleasure to be here today. And I thank you for the opportunity. And Sarah, thank you for moderating, and great questions. Hopefully I answered them, and I just wish everybody a safe journey as we get out of this COVID-19, and double dose your vaccination so we can get back to normal. And I know that if anybody's got any influences to get me to be able to go to PEI, I would welcome it at any time. Ask Sarah for my email, and I'll certainly take that help.